This happened a few years ago. I was going back to my college after being home for the summer. I lived in an old house with my parents who had bought it shortly after they were married in the 60s. They raised 4 children in that house, including me, and we all moved out in our early to mid-20s. So it's been empty for a while. The house is big, rambling and drafty. It's settled in the woods at the end of a long driveway. My parents live 2 hours away, so whenever I came home to visit, they always warned me not to stay in the house alone because it's too creepy. I always ignored them and stayed anyway. When I was a kid, there was a basement under most of the house. We had a washer and dryer down there, along with the water heater and all the pipes. There was also an old wood-burning furnace. This was in Pennsylvania, so heating the house in the winter was a very serious undertaking. In recent years, though, the basement has become more and more of a liability than an asset. The foundation was settling in parts and there were cracks forming in the walls upstairs. So a few years before this story takes place, my parents finally agreed to fill in the basement and turn it into a crawl space. Before they did, though, they made a big deal about the fact that I wouldn't be allowed to go down there. No basement, just a crawl space. They said I should probably know that, but I didn't really think much of it. My room was upstairs. I never went down to the basement except to get stuff out of storage or if they asked me to check something for them. So now it's a few days before I head back to school. I'm moving into my dorm, so I don't have a whole lot of stuff to pack up, but I do have to clean my room. It's pretty dusty from sitting empty for so long. As I'm dusting off my desk, I hear what sounds like light tapping coming from below the floor. I shrug it off as just some old house sounds, maybe a pipe expanding or contracting from the change in temperature. That night, I'm watching TV in the living room, and I hear the tapping again. Now it seems to be coming from under my old room. I remember the basement door being removed a while back, so there are just floorboards covering the opening. I walk over to the door and kneel down. Sure enough, I can hear the tapping sound coming from right below me. I stand up and walk back to the TV. Probably just mice, I tell myself. I didn't sleep well that night. Maybe it was the heavy stuff I ate for dinner or the fact that I was staying in the creepiest house ever. Whatever the reason, I found myself lying in bed staring at the ceiling for a long time. Just as I'm drifting off, I hear that tapping sound again, only closer. Then I distinctly hear a dragging sound followed by some scraping. I jump out of bed and run to the basement door where I can hear the noise even more clearly now. In the morning, I tell my parents about the sounds I heard and they just laugh. "It's an old house," my mom says. "Of course it makes noises. You're probably just imagining things." She kisses me on the cheek and heads to the kitchen. That night, I decide to stay up late and see if the noise happens again. I grab a book and settle in on the couch. Sure enough, around 3 a.m., the noise starts again. Even louder this time. Whatever's going on down there seems to be getting bigger and more intense. I can hear heavy footsteps followed by loud banging. Then I hear what sounds like a voice. It's deep and raspy and says, "Go away." I freeze. I can't believe what I've just heard. I look over at the basement door and imagine what it would be like if whatever's down there got out. For the next few nights, the commotion downstairs gets worse. Now I can hear scratching and growling. Sometimes it sounds like a wild animal. Other times it sounds like someone in pain. On one occasion, I swear I heard the unmistakable sound of shattering glass. I start telling everyone I talk to about it. My friends don't believe me. My parents still laugh it off. One night the growling wakes me up. I hear chains dragging, then a crash and a blood-curdling scream. I immediately call my parents. They both answer at the same time. "What is it?" my mom asks. "There's something in the basement," I say. "You were right. I'm sorry I didn't believe you." "What are you talking about?" my dad asks. "What's down there?" I explain about the noise and how it sounded like someone or something was trapped down there. My dad stays on the phone with me while he drives over to the house. When he gets there, he calls me back and tells me to stay on the phone until he gets there. He walks through the house and listens in the basement. All he can hear is wind blowing through a crack in the foundation. He opens the basement door and shines a flashlight around. There's nothing down there but dirt. He tells me to come over and check it out for myself. As soon as I hang up the phone, I feel foolish. How could there be sounds when there was supposed to be no basement? What was I hearing all those nights? Was it mice or maybe a raccoon or something? I get dressed and run downstairs. Outside, my dad is waiting for me. "Let's go take a look," he says. We walk out into the front yard and he points to a large oak tree not far from the house. "Maybe that's where the noise is coming from," he says. I walk over and look up. Sure enough, there's a large branch hanging down from the tree. It looks like it might have fallen during the storm last week. "Yeah, that must be it," I say. "Let's go check." We walk toward the tree, but as we get closer, the scrabbling noise starts again. My dad and I stop dead in our tracks. It's coming from the tree, but it's not coming from the branch. It's coming from inside the tree. As we watch, the oak tree begins to shake violently. Branches are thrashing about wildly. Leaves are falling off and the scrabbling grows louder. My dad puts his foot out like he's about to run, but we don't move. We just stand there and watch as the tree continues to shake violently. Then suddenly, the shaking stops. My dad and I look at each other in disbelief. We slowly begin to walk toward the tree, but before we can get close, the ground gives way beneath us, and we fall into a hole in the backyard. When we get back to the surface, we find ourselves in a dark, dank basement. In the flickering light of my phone, we can see that the room is filled with dirt and debris, and in the center of it all is a large metal box with a handle sticking out of the top. My dad reaches out and grabs it. The moment his fingers touch the handle, it begins to shake. We stumble back as the ground begins to rumble and the walls of the basement start to crumble. That's when we see it. A massive, gnarled hand bursts through the dirt, followed by a second hand and then a third. A deep, gravelly voice booms, "Finally, someone has come to free me!" The creature begins to pull itself out of the hole, and my dad and I run for our lives. We don't stop running until we get to the road. As we turn to look back at the house, we see the creature lumbering toward us. Its eyes are glowing red in the darkness. "Run!" I scream to my dad. "It's coming after us." He doesn't seem to hear me. His eyes are wide with terror. Then the creature opens its mouth and lets out a deafening roar. I squeeze my eyes shut and cover my ears, but even through my terror, I can hear the look of pure evil on its face as it steps out from the shadows. It's too late. It growls, "I've waited centuries for my revenge, and now I finally have it." The last thing I remember is the feeling of sharp teeth sinking into my neck.